podcasts over at wildgamesproductions.com and d20radio.com.
They came from the game table, dice bags in hand.
We have one brain that we share between us.
To talk about role-playing for all across the land.
And you'll like it.
The original, then basic, then one they scoured.
Kinda grabs you by the boo-boo, don't it?
To bring AD&D to the second power.
You want me to put the hammer down?
Welcome to THACO's Hammer, the best scam AD&D 2nd edition podcast ever.
That could be another 7 movies right there. You can get 7 movies for the price of 3.
Oh, God.
And call it the next trilogy. All 7 of them.
Hi, folks. Save or Die. This is DM Glen. This is episode what?
Save or Die?
Save or Die. Yeah, what the hell? I don't care. He's going off about Star Wars. Actually, this is THACO's Hammer. What episode are we on, Mr. Brian?
55.
55. I'm DM Glen, of course. And this is DM Brian. Say hi.
Good evening, folks.
And man ranting and raving and gnashing his teeth about Star Wars in the corner is DM Full-On Gamer. Say hi.
Greetings, Gamer Nation. I've dressed up for Halloween like a gamer ranting about Lucas and Star Wars and Disney. Now you know when this happened.
In other words, just being himself.
Yeah. Anyway, let's get on to Chris.
Yes.
What are you doing tonight? I don't know. What are you doing tonight? The burlesque Louis Paradise, miserable and lonely and stupid. What am I, crazy or something? I got something good here. What am I hanging around with you guys for?
Hits and crits.
Hits and crits. Boy, this is going to be fun to edit.
You just take the first 10, 15 minutes and just cut it. Everything will be fine. But anyway.
Oh, boy. Anyway, what have you guys been doing in gaming this week? Full on? Besides ranting about Star Wars.
I'm sorry I even asked.
No, I do no game. No gaming no gaming today. No, actually, last thing we did was the gaming with Brian. We helped him make the map right for making the map right for our D20 tools thing.
No, I don't.
Oh, boy.
No, you buy torch. You buy your own torches. No.
No, I don't think so.
God, stop it.
How about you? What's up?
Well, let's see. Yeah, we did session 3 last night, or not last night, last week, and
that's right.
And from there, I've just been, trying to. I spent a good portion of the evening after we wrapped up to, at full-on suggestion, actually put the map of the dungeon as the background and use Fog of War so that you don't know what's on the map, but I do. And I was having a little trouble getting the scaling right. Aside from that,
Did you ever get my token on there?
I have your token. It will be there when we do our session next week. I promise.
Okay. Good boy. And
thank you, Dad.
No allowance for you. Anyway,
Aw. But Dad.
I did my basic game today, and that was a lot of fun. We got to go further into Barrel Maze. For those of you who listen to both us and Save or Die, we're going to be interviewing the author of Barrel Maze coming up next show. So, little fans plug for my sister's show there. We only lost one person, and that was due to being scared by mummified cats. When they get fear and, they run 50 feet down the hall, 25 feet down the hall, there's a pit they forgot we went over.
Robe of useful items, can of cat food, tin of cat food, throw some tuna in there. Then close the door.
Yeah, something like that. Something like that.
Well, he ended up. So we traded his thief out, who would constantly
complain that he couldn't make any thief skills.
Yep.
Yes.
In favor of a cleric who's never going to be able to heal everybody enough.
Or turn undead.
Yeah. Yeah, we're trying to get him as many XP as possible just so he can get up to second level. He comes up, he's paranoid, and, we had another character come in with him who'd already been in the party, who came in late to the game, and he kept going, are they all right? Is this cool? Is this cool? Is it going to be all right? It's just like, dude, we're not making a drug deal. We're just here to get out of the dungeon.
Not making a drug deal. That's pretty funny.
I kept expecting me to, he wanted me to slip a nickel bag or something, It was crazy.
Wow.
But anyway, it was a fun game, and I'm still not up to 5th level in my elf. But anyway, that's basic.
That's 32,000 experience points. Holy crap. Wow.
I was at 28, and he handed me 625, and it's like, if you say anything under 5,000, I don't even want to talk to you.
Every little bit helps, Glenn.
Yes, it does. Mm-hmm. And Gage did not play, my grandson. So
which is unfortunate.
Left him in the town. It was a matter of him not getting eat versus Grandpa killed my character.
Yeah.
So guess which one I picked?
Well,
I'm not going to have that over my head.
Sometimes you have to sacrifice for the greater good.
The needs of the many outweigh the needs of the one.
We got any emails?
Yes, we do. And let me pull them up real quick, and there we go. Okay, we've got 2 emails and 1 voicemail. I'll start with one of the emails first. Yes, we've got an email from one of our supporters, the man who runs PlanetAD&D.com, Cole Austin.
Right on. Hey, Cole.
Greetings, planetary overlord. We worship at your feet, for we are not worthy.
And I might welcome the D&D planetary overlord since I'm on the board.
Yeah, so. Exactly. As am I. Okay, he says, hey guys, I just wanted to give you full props to you all and your show. It takes an immense amount of time, energy, and commitment to do such a show, and we applaud you. Cole, you have no idea.
Time, energy, and a really crappy Skype connection.
Yeah, exactly. And the patience of Job, mind you. Okay. Thaco's Hammer has filled in many mind-numbing hours for me during my long drives back and forth on Vancouver Island due to my work. Dude, you live where I want to live. I want to live in Vancouver, British Columbia. It's a beautiful city.
You want to deal with that weather?
It's not that bad. It's on the other side of the mountains. It's not as bad as Seattle, believe it or not. But anyway.
Cold as hell?
Not really. No colder. Dude, I live in Michigan. It's freaking cold here.
So you want to trade one cold for another cold? Okay.
Yeah, but I'd be a lot happier. But anyway.
But it's dry heat.
It's something like that. Yeah, so's a blowtorch. Anyway. Okay, I continue. I typically listen to 5 to 8 shows per trip and look forward to these episodes regularly. Anyway, on to some questions and comments from myself and my players. Question, he writes in bold. When casting such spells as Fireball, to you guys as DMs, force the mage in question to make a targeting roll to hit the exact area they desire to place the blast, or do you allow the mage to place the Fireball automatically where indicated?
I will give the answer of raw. A fireball spell goes directly where the mage wills it to go within their range.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if for some reason there's a circumstance that might preclude the mage from being able to make a perfectly informed decision of where they want to place their spell, like they're maybe guessing, I might have to make a spellcraft check to accurately, tactically place it. Otherwise they're going to deal with, I pointed at the map, that's where it goes. Boom!
Well, I thought that all was covered with the to-hit roll.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
There is no to-hit roll with the fireball spell.
There is now.
Roll with the lightning. You declare an area of effect and a center of origin.
Mm-hmm.
Or a point of origin. There it is.
Okay.
When a spell dictates that there is a to-hit roll involved, usually it's going to be a different kind of spell, which is why there's a difference between spells that involve a to-hit roll and the damage they yield, and spells that only have a area of effect and then involve saving throws.
Mm-hmm. And
okay.
the fireball in question is a 20-foot sphere. Boom. I'm right in lockstep with you, full on. If, the circumstances would indicate it, if it's a perfect situation, then the mage can just say, it goes off here. This is one of the reasons why I'm so glad that you don't run a mage in my game, full on. Because you are just a tactician, and I have to keep up with that, and that's a little tough. But anyway, I digress. If the circumstances are special, or if they're trying really hard to place the fireball exactly in a spot and in close quarters and trying not to get the part and get their friends roasted along with the enemy, then yeah, spellcraft check is in order.
You mean I can't drop the fireball inside the 10x10 room where all the skeletons are with us?
Yeah, let's see. It would fill up that 10x10 room, then it would come out the door right where you're standing. No.
Even the mage could be a cleric. Did you turn them? Yeah, I turned them into ashes.
Exactly.
Hey, it's 33 10x10 cubes if you're fireballing inside the dungeon crawl.
Exactly. Yeah.
Old school. Let's rock it.
Yeah, when all else fails, fireball them. Anyway, the next comment that he has. Just one comment here for Full On. I can't remember which episode it was, but he stated that you don't have to spend all of your initial weapon proficiencies at first level. Glen replied, quote, he was under the assumption that you do, unquote, and then the show went on. Not to be a rules lawyer, as I hate them being a DM myself. Yeah, who doesn't? I just wanted to let Full On know that on page 50 of the player's handbook, it clearly states these initial slots must be spent immediately before the character embarks on his first adventure.
Vindicated! Yes! Victory!
I know. I thought I mentioned it was like a house rule notion that, some people might stockpile and save some proficiency slots to invest in later. Mm-hmm. I know somebody else was asking about that as well.
I thought that was at later levels you can do that.
Mm-hmm. He goes on to say, it's not a huge deal as you could house rule this, as I did to match Full-On's comments, but I just wanted to let Glenn know that he's right once in a while. I like this guy.
I'm right more than you know. I'm the host, remember? But
something like that.
Well, around here, host usually means, license for abuse. Ask Vince sometime.
Yeah, let's not go there. Okay, now he has he has several questions, but they're all couched in pretty much the same thing.
To be the main host of a Wild Games podcast means a big target pad on your chest.
Who are you telling? Anyway, let's see. In 2002, Planet AD&D had over 20,000 users, and after the following topic was shut down on our forums due to hate mail, death threats, etc., the site dropped in users to around 4,000 people. It's been a hot topic forever now, not that I want to detriment your show, but I wanted to hear some honest, well-thought-out opinions for all of you at THACO's Hammer.
In other words, you're presenting a crystal box full of cards at us and want to see if we're going to draw.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. I will go against my normal purview and accept your challenge.
Oh,
put your option out there.
Yeah.
I'll watch.
Yeah, these questions are rather interesting. Okay,
so is he saying these are the questions that killed Planet AD&D?
For the most part, yeah, which is ridiculous. But then again, we all know gamers being gamers ourselves, and, I'll just leave it at that. He says, he asked his first question.
Go ahead.
His first question, can paladins be assassins? How do you all feel? Is this possible? Okay, let me start, because I decided a long time ago to make paladins of alignment. Now, if the paladin was worshiping a god of thievery or assassination or even outright evil, yes. In that context, it could happen. Otherwise, no. That's just how I feel about it.
I don't see any problem with it because, in basic, you have, get up high enough level, you have fighters of alignment, one of which is a paladin.
Mm-hmm.
And so, sure, especially if you're playing around with, like, the anti-paladin.
Yes, exactly.
Or a death knight. Anyway.
I'll take the slightly skewed view of this, and I will say, just as there are specific rules that come into play for certain multi-class combinations, you can also get the same kind of thing for that very, 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 one more time, very rare concoction known as the Paladin Assassin. It would require you, A, to house rule that your assassin class is A, a class, and B, not restricted by alignment to evil only, to say that, yes, you could have a lawful good assassin. I'm of the opinion that you could have a lawful good assassin, but he would be bound by much the same strictures that a paladin is in the first place. Because really, what is a paladin other than a church-sanctioned assassin and militant to go forth and slay in the name of their holy power? Which is kind of an assassin in the first place. But if you wanted to combine the two of them, especially if it was dealing with a thief-type deity or a rogue-type deity or a war-type deity, where you needed to have that special cadre of infiltrators who are troubleshooters to go like the Jedi Shadow into the heart of the Sith Empire and snuff something out before it actually brings the entire continent to the brink of bloody war, then yes, you could potentially have a lawful good assassin, just like you can have a good thief.
Like Van Helsing.
Yeah, Van Helsing. Yes, or like Assassin's Creed, for that matter.
Assassin's Creed, the Van Helsing type model, where you have to be a pure spirit, not a mercenary spirit. You have to have a goal. You have to have a creed. You have to have lots and lots and lots of rules by which you can lose your assassinhood or paladinhood. And it would be a very, very tight niche window of your profession's execution.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't have a problem with it. I would actually enjoy it and welcome it as a role-playing challenge.
Mm-hmm. I would prefer not to have to deal with it as a DM, but I can see it happening.
Yeah. He continues.
Yes, especially if you're dealing with the realms.
Mm-hmm. Let's see.
Tell me there's not harpers that are paladin assassins. They've got them.
Yeah, I could agree with that. Okay,
anyway,
he continues. He asks, can an assassin assassinate other people and maintain his powers? Yes.
Give me that again. What?
He says, can an assassin assassinate other people and maintain his powers?
Is this a question about assassins in general or assassin paladins?
Well, I think he's still on the assassin paladin kick.
Okay.
When he's asking these questions,
Depending on the god, yeah. The god urges that
very much. If it was the kind of situation where, say, you were hanging out concealed as a lurking minion right next to the big bad evil guy overlord saying, yes, and now I command you to execute that 10th level scroll of epicness that will lay waste to the entire region and sink that whole half of the countryside into the sea, and he just jumps up and goes, stick! Okay, that's done. Sure, why not? That would be the point.
Yeah, that's the point of being an assassin.
That's healing the earth of his presence, so it's a healing thing.
Yeah, something like that. He asks another question. Can he accidentally assassinate someone and maintain his powers, or is accidentally doing such a thing not even possible? No. There has to be intent when you're trying to assassinate someone. There's no such thing as accidental assassinations, the way I see it.
He's not going to go on and ask if...
In fact, I would go on to say that if you fully intended to assassinate your given target and discovered, woe to your misery, that you were the victim of somebody's handy-dandy illusion spells and the big bad evil guy was the bound and gagged princess prisoner, boom! You must find your way towards atonement because you allowed yourself to be suckered.
Yeah, exactly.
And you will then have the guilt and wayforness of, oh man, I screwed up.
I messed up. Yes, I really messed up.
This.
Yeah, exactly. Let's see. And his last question about this is, would he always confront them and declare his intentions? Okay. And for me, if he was lawful good, it would depend on the situation, because unlike most people who run assassins, as they run them as Dudley Do Right, a.k.a. lawful stupid characters. What's that?
You mean paladins?
Yeah, paladins, yes. As far as this goes, I mean, declaring your intentions, it all depends on the context. Sometimes, yes, you have to be the shining beacon of light in the against the oncoming wave of darkness. And sometimes you have to say, "Here I am. I'm going to destroy you. Do your best to try to destroy me, and we'll see what happens." In the case of this paladin assassin thing, as far as I'm concerned, if you're going to run the assassin model under guise of a paladin or in combination with a paladin, most of the time you're going to be quote-unquote undercover, because what an assassin does is that either he goes out and kills someone by stealth or by plot or by poison or however you want to do it, and the thing is that giving your presence away as such is going to end up with you being killed. So I would say, if under this paladin assassin debate, I would say he doesn't have to declare his intentions most of the time. But when it comes to some situations, yeah, there are going to be times where you have to.
I can give 3 pop culture references here of different ways to handle that exact same question, and all of them work out well.
Okay.
Item the first, the Punisher.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Item the second, Dexter.
Okay.
All right.
And item the third, Mara Jade as the Emperor's Hand.
Yeah. That's probably the best example, because she wasn't evil per se, even though she was working for the Empire, and she thought she was doing good, and it turns out she wasn't.
Well, no, she actually was. She actually was doing good, because, and this is the way the bill of goods gets sold, especially if you're going to have paladin classes working for other oddball things. Okay?
Mm-hmm. Had to throw in expanded universe, didn't you?
Yes, I did. As the Emperor's Hand, her job was to root out corruption and traitors, actual corruption and traitors, of real abuses of power. Mm-hmm. She would gather the proof, be the judge, jury, and executioner of the Emperor's will to eliminate traitors to the Empire, who were doing corrupt things in bad ways to good people.
Yeah, well, and the funny...
And she would do it by isolating the target, confronting them, and either snuffing them out quietly or possibly having a Dexter-esque conversation. Moving on to the Dexter model. Dexter, his code, got to be absolutely 1,000% certain, beyond a shadow of a doubt, that the target is a target worth being taken out. Gather the proof.
He listened to his old man too much.
And then put the target down in such a way that embarrasses them into acknowledging their own guilt, and then snuff it.
And then stuff them out, yeah. A serial killer hunting serial killers, yes.
And then the final model, which is what most people call a paladin anyway. And then the final model would be the Punisher model, which can be up to and including that 50 cal sniper round coming over the hillside and poof! Suddenly. Did you leave a note? No.
I can think of a fourth example in pop culture. Mm-hmm. You ever seen the show Person of Interest?
Yes.
Same thing. They find that, and they even go, they almost do a Minority Report thing on this. Mm-hmm. You know, they got the, have you ever seen the show?
I haven't seen it.
It's this like millionaire secretive guy who developed the computer to worm out threats to the government for
an investment program.
Yes, and he uses it because it says it spits out thousands of other threats that aren't, but they're still potential crimes. He uses that and Jim Caviezel as an ex-CIA guy to stop the stuff before it happens.
Interesting.
And that's kind of paladinish to me, but it might work into assassination too.
Yeah.
Also, very Burn Notice.
Oh, yeah. Michael Weston, my man. Yeah.
Anyway,
all of these are good models. There's a dozen different models of things that can approach this model of the assassin-paladin combination. Mm-hmm. The key points are moral code, absolute, unbreakable, unshakable moral code that must be enforced, rules of engagement that, cannot harm an innocent, cannot have collateral damage, may or may not even involve revelation of your presence or a direct personal challenge. If you want to go the Cavalier style of, I infiltrated my way into the lair of the beast, closed the door and locked it behind me so it's just him and me, that I'm going to say, you know what, by the way, da-da, you're being sentenced for your crimes. Stand to and fight. But that's not really an assassination. It's more of a duelist at that point.
Yeah.
Or you could be like Wise Guy. I infiltrated the mob to kill these guys.
Yeah. Ken Wall with the unibrow, yeah.
Yeah, pretty
I mean,
much.
and of course there's one that we're kind of missing and everybody uses as pretty much the prime example of a lawful good / lawful neutral paladin assassin type, James Bond.
Okay, yeah.
That's what he did. Mm-hmm.
That's what actually, that's a whole, a classic spy's whole shtick.
Yeah. Yeah,
and again, the paladin assassin is the, again, especially if you're going to play black hat, white hat with it, is if you're dealing with the white hat paladin assassin, you are the cutting edge spy assassination tool of the state.
Yep. And they actually go into that in the Paladin's Handbook. They actually talk about that, specifically. Or not the Paladin's Handbook, I'm sorry, the Ninja's Handbook. Same.
Yeah.
I hope they give you enough to work with there. What's the next question? Can Orcus make a rock so large he can't lift it, or what?
No, that was his last question.
Okay, well, thank you. Who said it again?
That was Cole.
Thank you, Cole.
Yes.
And at planetadd.com, great place to go. Check it out.
Yes, please do. Great.
What else?
And please don't leave THACO's hammer just because we started talking assassins and paladins and how they could potentially possibly be used in the same sentence.
Yeah, and cut down on the death threats. I know someone.
Cut down the death threats. Go back to the board. Build it up to its former glory, and trolls go to hell. Anyway, go ahead.
Exactly. Yeah, we got acid and fire for the trolls. Yes. Okay. All right. We have an email from Terminus.
Hello.
Mm-hmm. This is a new emailer to the show, I believe. Okay, he says, "Hey guys, love the show. It's good to see 2E being so well represented. Full on."
I love hearing that kind of stuff.
Exactly. Yeah. This makes my day for sure. Full on, Clangeddon wanted you to know that he appreciates your continued devotion and that your daily spell allotment has been granted.
For everyone.
More ale.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Okay, now on to business. I've always been troubled by a particular element of dual classing that was, to my knowledge, never explicitly covered by the printed game rules. If the optional bonus proficiency rule is used, a first-level character receives a number of additional NWPs based upon their intelligence ability score. In your collective opinion, does it make sense to again grant these bonus proficiencies to a character that just dual classed? I always thought that if the letter of the rule is followed, a character would, but it does seem a bit munchkinish and could cause some degree of imbalance within the game. Comments?
Okay, first of all, refresh me dual classing in 2E. Can you start out as a dual class?
No, because that would be multi-classed, and that's for demi-humans.
That's what I thought. Okay.
Yeah, dual classing.
Work up a few levels in one class, and then
switch to another class. Now, the first thing I have to say before I get into my answer is that the ability score requirements for actually doing dual classing are so steep that it's just not possible most times.
Yeah, most people go with a multi-class anyway.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Which is why when they went to editions that people don't want to mention anymore, that it was one of the first things that went away. Yep. Dual classing doesn't exist. Multi-classing is a pure thought in and of itself, and it was made available to everyone so that they could just do it right instead of screw everybody over.
Yeah, right. Yeah. But getting back to the dual classing thing, I wouldn't give them the proficiencies beyond what is necessary for the class. Like if you were going, oh God, I can only imagine the stats, but if you were going with, if say you were a thief and you decided to dual class into ranger.
Wow.
That's a jump. Yeah, it's a huge jump. I mean, you would have to. I mean, like I said, you'd have to basically have all 17 or at least all 16s to switch over. But anyway, I would give him tracking and everything like that. I would give him whatever NWPs that were required for the class and no more. If he wanted to gain more, then he would just have to gain levels as a ranger. Then I would give him the normal slots that he would get.
That sounds right. I'd do that too. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you need these, take them. Other than that, you're stuck with what you got until next level.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, until you reach whatever multiple it is full on.
Yeah.
I would go with the little bit more beneficial approach to it because of the way dual classing, specifically dual classing, is constructed. I would not have a great heartbreak with an individual who met the prerequisites or whatever to earn themselves some bonus proficiencies to bring in the bonus proficiencies for their new class.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Because that's the whole point. You're approaching it as if, other than your hit points, your hit dice and hit points, you are essentially a complete new character of that new class and would then be entitled to all the benefits of that new class if you had earned them.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And I wouldn't see that as being horribly unbalanced at the point where you finally attain the surpassing level point where you could have the benefits of both classes.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, that's fair enough.
Okay. Now we've got that settled, right?
Right.
Let me throw in a monkey wrench into that.
This is your job.
Yes, it's my job. Don't mess with it. But what if that dual class, second class you go to is a kitted class?
I love kits. I combine kits in classes all the time. That's again another point where I don't have a headache of adding in the bonus proficiencies, adding in the intelligence gained extra bonus proficiencies. I have characters that my DM allowed me to house ruled and allowed me to run dual kitted characters.
So
going back to Clangeddon, he was dual kitted as a Myrmidon and Vindicator.
Okay.
Wow.
Okay. So you could
have a battle-raging Myrmidon.
God, stop it.
I was thinking of multi-class. It's like, okay, we got an elf multi-classing in Myrmidon and Bladesinger. No, not in my lifetime.
That's so awesome, Myrmidon Bladesinger. That would be like the complete ultimate militant. That's Judge Dredd for elves.
I am the law. Sorry.
That is Elven Judge Dredd right there.
Anyway, thank you.
That was Terminus.
Thank you, Terminus. You give us a lot to think about, and full on more than enough to think about. Thank you. I did that.
I would make a replacement character for Galantro.
No, I ain't going to do that to you.
Hells no. If Galantro dies, then we'll talk. That doesn't mean that you start. That doesn't mean you start just going and doing all kinds of crazy risks just to get him killed. Because I frown upon that. But
I'm waiting for Corey to come in.
So much fun if I were to try to bring in a spell archer Bladesinger.
No. Are you kidding?
That's self-contradictory. Is not even funny.
Yeah,
but
it is.
Make an NPC like that because NPCs get to break all the rules.
Not really.
They can if it wants them to.
Well,
anyway.
DM Fiat as opposed to DM Honda.
Or DM Toyota. Anyway.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Wait for Corey to die in his first character so he can make that mage who specializes in wands. But anyway.
Stop. Don't, oh, God. Do not give that man ideas. I'm surprised he didn't ask to do it. I'm shocked that he didn't ask me to do it.
Earlier episodes.
Yeah, well,
Anyway, we got a voicemail?
Yes, we have a voicemail. This is from our longtime contributor, Travis Harmbringer Nicholson. And give me a moment.
Let's give it a listen here.
Hey, guys. This is Travis Harmbringer Nicholson again. Calling to apologize. I've been off at war in the SCA. I went to GWW. Had a ton of prep to get done for that. Blacksmithing, armoring, and fighting. Which brings me to my question. How much mass field combat tactics do you guys use? Covering right flank, covering left flank, covering running up the center, charging a shield wall. Do you guys even do mass field combat, two armies versus each other? Or is it mostly just skirmish fights, small squad on squad, 8 orcs versus 6 fighters? Because our left flank just kept breaking down, and then the right flank would break down, then, oh crap, there I am, surrounded by the entire enemy army. Can't wait to hear the answer. Talk to you guys later. And always, keep the dice on the table.
And a mighty huzzah and vivat to you for that.
Thank you, Travis. He's serious, right?
Yeah, he is. Yeah, I'm fairly certain.
Battle tactics out of us.
Well, my whole thing, most of the time. Well, my only experience only came up once with mass combat as a player. That was in Forgotten Realms campaign, where we actually ran a couple of scenarios connected to the adventure using battle system, and it worked pretty well. I mean, I think my ranger was like 6th level at the time, and also had a squad of warriors at her back and, doing all kinds of engagements. If I was going to do that, and most of the time I will admit, because I'm not all that fond of mass combat, most of the time it will be as a background thing, and I'll just roll some dice and, okay, higher roll, this side's winning, blah, 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 and just kind of keep the focus on the players. It's
Basic had War Machine, which worked good for that.
Mm-hmm.
You got to focus on the small battles while the big one rages around you.
Correct.
Anyway, I think full on.
Yeah, I kind of concur with the same approach there. I mean, very rarely are you going to have to deal with the phalanx of, 55 10th level fighters.
Yeah, that's when you start lobbing fireballs as if they were pebbles.
Okay, so in general, you're going to be dealing with your whatever population of battlefield fodder is going to be out there doing the battlefieldness, and the player character groups or elements are going to be the little commando special weapons raids that go on in and around in order to break that left flank or break that right flank for somebody else to come charging through. You try to achieve success. You try to achieve some kind of level of threshold success to enable and modify the battlefield for the battle in general to go on around you, and then the DM should have rules in place for having that set up or fail, unless you are then also engaging in full mass combat. I have done the full mass combat thing a couple of times when I had Grondar Dwarfbiter of the Orc Thrower clan bring his half-ogre myrmidonness into moving the entire population of the Orcs of Thar out of the north part of the Moonsea and, leveling Zental Keep on our way to go occupy the Underrock and steal it from the Zentran.
They were so badass, they just crashed right through Mastar into the realms and took Zental Keep by storm. Wow.
Ours in both of those, by the way.
Ours in both? Wow.
Yes, it is.
Once again, the hosts don't know anything. So, speaking of, the only time I did it was when I played the 2E game with Mike and Liz when I went down there about 6 months ago with his we were in a siege situation with an army of orcs coming to us, but we did all our prep first because they were like a day away. So we were building pits, getting fireball traps ready, acid ray and all that stuff. But he pretty much ran it like you guys said. We had the big battle going, and we'd hit a spell, and it'd take that many trolls out, and now this one's coming up here, he's going to get you, that kind of thing.
Oh,
anyway.
I just forgot. I just remembered one, actually. In the wonderful Module B10 Night's Dark Terror, one of the first things the party is more or less has to do is to defend a homestead against an assault by about 120 goblins.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's the biggest one I've done. But, they are defending a static area, and there are only certain points of access, and, it ended up going as well, even though at the end of the session my players were kind of complaining. It's like, dude, why'd you throw so many goblins against us? I said, because you could handle it. If you were out in the middle of nowhere and you got jumped by that many, there would be a problem. But you're defending a sturdy homestead against them. And your tactics actually were really good, and you were kind of lucky on top of it. So, yeah, you guys did well.
That's the point. Hold off the zombie horde.
Okay, we might be getting to this in a future episode, but any of you guys look at battles? Have you ever looked at Battle System, owned it?
I played it. I've never owned it, but yeah. I'll put that in the show notes right now, as a matter of fact. Yeah.
Okay, I knew we'd have to get to it eventually.
Yeah.
I've experimented with it, and it was battle system rules that we used for the greater army portions of my invasion track.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay, personally, anything that has to do with mass combat gives me the hives.
Mass combat?
So, combat.
Sorry.
Mind you, I don't draw the line at mass combat at anything less than, say, about 100 or so. So
I got two.
I'll still go tactical. I'll still go full tactical with that, just like you were saying there with that 120 goblin thing. You know, if I got 50. I got 56 orcs fighting in a cavern against our party of 5. Well, then, okay. Hope you have a good plan.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I got 2 words for you, full on. Blood Mountain.
Yes.
That's all I got to say about it.
Those of you coming to North Texas RPGon 2013, there's an excellent chance that it will be going on again.
I hope so. I certainly hope so.
If our man here isn't deployed.
Yeah.
We'll see.
We'll see. Let's hope so, but we'll see.
I got time to run it for 12 hours before I leave.
That would be funny.
That would be. The plane's leaving in about 2 hours. I got to get back.
When I arrived, it was, okay, the truck's unpacked. Cool. I'll be in Texas. Bye.
And, folks, that is why he calls himself full-on gamer.
And the wife puts up with it. Wow, I'm so envious.
His wife is a gamer, too. That's how he gets away with it.
Yep. Okay. Anyway, thanks for the emails, folks. And you can email us at thacoshammer@gmail.com or at 405-826-0555.
Glenn? 806.
That's what I said, 806.
No, you said 826.
I did not.
You did so.
Don't make me play this back.
I will play it back, because that's what you said, but enough. I'm not going to rules lawyer it.
405-806-0555.
There you go.
If you're Angelic Doctor and you want to send us a voicemail, stop trying to send us a voicemail and just record it on Audacity and send us the MP3, please.
Yeah, just email it to us that way, because we want to answer your questions, but the experiences you're having with Google Voice are bad.
Yeah. Enough said. Okay, let's get into Rule 0.
One would think you've been doing this all your life.
We'll remember you said that.
I know. I'm sure you hate me just enough.
Rule 0.
Rule 0. Finally, we get to the main show.
Yes, we do.
Some episodes, magic item balancing. When is it time for the party to upgrade? In other words, as they go, if I understand correctly, as they go up in levels, you got to kind of monitor this.
Yeah. I can speak to this directly because, as it turns out, I kind of screwed up in regards to our AP podcast, but I'm going to roll with it rather than retcon it. I'm just going to go with it.
Well, at least one player's too stupid to realize it, so go ahead.
Now, that's because I'm good at hiding things. If you want to know stuff, you got to spend the time, effort, and possibly magic to find out. Anyway.
And I'm good enough to role-play stupidity.
Yeah. Sometimes I wonder. But anyway, enough about that. As far as I'm concerned, the way you balance it out, usually how I do it is to kind of ensure that most of the party, if it has +1 weapons, and then the +2s start trickling in, and same thing for +3s, and so on and so forth. That's the way I do it.
I'm 4th level in my basic game right now, and my main weapon is a sword that's +1 to hit and +3 versus undead. Would you call that excessive?
No, not at all, because that's...
Fourth level?
No, not at all.
Okay, perfectly fine.
Yeah, that's...
See, I think that's part of the way you can get around it is fact you give them magic weapons that are they're magic, of course, but they only get the special bennies under certain circumstances.
Correct. Conditional items. That's why they have the entire category of conditional items. There's a big difference between the +3, +4 versus cold using creatures and the +5.
Yeah.
I know, because my backup weapon is a sword, which is +1, +3 versus dragons. So
hey, nothing wrong with that.
So, lots of folks end up with that bag of holding with that little arsenal that they pull out like a golf bag. Said, okay, so, hey, Freddie, what do you think? Yeah, I think we got a little bit of fire elementals here, so we're going to pull out the frost brand. We're going to go at it from the right flank. Okay, that's good. Oh, look at that over there. We got some quicklings up. So what we're going to do is here, you're going to be able to keep up with them. You're going to pull out that short sword of speed, and we're going to dual wield that with your fire brand there. Okay, good.
That's too much sword for that hole. Yeah.
That's what she said. Anyway,
You know what you need here? You need yourself go into the quiver store. Go into the quiver. Go get yourself one of them. Arrows of dragon slaying. We got one of those in stock. We're all right here.
Yeah.
It don't miss.
Yeah, whatever you do, don't miss. Yeah, Cleric cast Bless and Prayer on me, please. I need as much advantage as I can get.
Why did you stone skin the dwarf's beard? Anyway, go ahead.
Because I could. Yes, I don't like dwarves. Anyway,
conditional magic items is one way to go.
Yeah, definitely, because that +3 doesn't come into play all that often. I mean, as a matter of fact, I used to, and I need to kind of get back to it as a DM, but what I used to do was I had magic items that were like, let's see, in the rule cyclopedia, they have the rules for the conditional magic items, and they could be pretty powerful, because I'm trying to remember, there was one sword I had, a character I think 12th level or something like that, has a +4 long sword, but it's +7 versus dragons. I had no problem in the conditional arena. I have no problem going beyond +5.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Because that's not going to come up every day.
Well, how else can we do this? How else can we monitor this and try and keep it at a steady level rather than just giving them the
Well, again, it also kind of depends on your gameplay style. Do you want to be hardcore and go Conan style where, there's 3 magic items on the continent and the bad guy has 2 of them? Okay. Or do you want to go a little bit more Greyhawkian and Mystaran where you're going to have, we're running around with our +2 or +1. Somebody's got a +1. Somebody might have 2 +1. Bob the Fighter gets the +3. Maybe, and, by the time you're 10th level, you're saying, you know what, I really could use something more than this +1 scale mail here,
Well, that's the pitfall. That's the pitfall of a DM who runs a world that has too many critters that need magical weapons to be hit.
Yeah, that's on the DM to kind of keep track of what the party has, number 1, and what he's throwing at them, number 2.
Yeah, that's
it's
half the equation.
It's not just about the weapons. Don't just isolate target fixate on the weapons. You need to remember, what are my protective magics in place? What am I got in the way of armor or rings of protection or bracers and stuff like that? Also, your utility magic items. At what point do you decide, the cleric is now a little bit relieved of his duties because we've got the Staff of Curing in the party?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And we can cover down with that ring of regeneration so I can start having the opponents be that goblin tribe who have sort of sharpness in their poorly locked chest. Actually use it.
Right. I mean, usable magic that you use up is good and well, but you can also have permanent magic items there that are also conditional. You've got a wand of fireballs. You give them a wand of fireballs with 5 charges when they're slower level. In mid-level and higher level, you give them a wand of fireballs that works. That has no charges in it. It'll always work, but it only works twice a day.
Right. Yeah, that's the other conditional you can throw on it so that it doesn't, just overbalance the game.
I prefer that. for that.
The bat that only works at night.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, that's in the Encyclopedia Magica, they have those kind of quirks for magic items. You know, to where that you just don't throw on the girdle of giant strength and automatically your strength is 22. You know, I mean, it could only work for a certain amount of rounds. It could be where you know, if you continually wear it, like we talked about a couple episodes ago, there could be detrimental effects to your character for doing it.
Right.
And things like that.
Yeah. And things like, you know, a bat you can only use at night, which I find hilarious. I'm going out and hunting some undead. Okay, who are you? I'm Batman. And just keep going.
Yeah, exactly. But
the other thing to go with that is when you are planning to incorporate certain things in your campaign, if there's going to be a need for silvered magic weapons to deal with the lycanthrope threat, having the +3 sword against undead isn't going to help anybody very much. And they can feel good that they have it, but then they're going to start getting frustrated that, man, I want a zombie to stab! You know?
I mean, my elf carries around those 2 swords, but he's also got, like, silvered arrows.
And no self-respecting, you know, character past a certain point, once they can afford it, should not have that stuff. You know, I mean, that way you...
silvered arrows, holy water,
yeah.
iron.
Yeah, and once you guys make a couple levels in my game, you'll probably run into my undead slayer who has a backpack of holding with all that stuff. You know, he's got the gallons of holy water. He's got the stakes. He's got the silver. He's got, you know, a couple really good magic items against undead. But that's his job, you know.
And then we're going to go into the pit where it's all slimes, molds, and jellies. Yes!
Well, you know, just have a good multitude of spells ready, that's all. Because fire will kill some, lightning will kill others, cold will kill others, blah, blah, blah. But, yeah.
Our game today, one guy managed to reach into a coffin and pull out his arm covered with gray ooze.
Ooh.
His response?
Ooh.
I pour oil on it and light it on fire.
Nice.
Yeah, it'll get it off.
Yeah.
Good approach. You use that for that. Use that for green slime as well. Now, when you walk into the room and somebody does a spellcraft check and says, hey, dude, those frost giants over there are wearing rings of warmth. Cool, we're going to take them out. I throw fireball. Probably a bad idea.
Yeah, probably.
And then the brown mold in the room goes, boom.
And then you got other problems. Yeah. But, yeah, I mean, but as far as, you know, just the party, quote-unquote, upgrading, there's no such thing as really upgrading your characters unless you just have that kind of high-level magic game. But
of course it is.
When I came back to D&D from Champions, I had a period of adjustment where I had to get the idea that the stats are the stats are the stats. They're fixed unless something really extraordinary happens. You're stuck with what you got.
Yeah, pretty much. Unless you go out and adventure and you find stuff.
The Puissant Manual of Arms.
Oh, that's a fighter's best friend.
The Livrum of Ineffable Knowledge.
Yep, stuff like that. You know, Tome of Understanding.
drink from the right fountain, and you may be able to raise a stat a point.
Which is what happened. Remember in my game, your character gained 2 hit points permanently.
That's right.
Yeah. Walking around singing, I feel pretty. Anyway.
Forth into the ruins of Castle Greyhawk and drink from certain pools and fountains at your own risk, just like drawing from that crystal box full of cards.
Or going into Tagle Manor and looking into the portraits.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, shut up, dwarves. Zippity-doo-dah.
Yeah, just skipping along, happy as a clam, just feeling real good about things. Yeah.
Yeah, oh man. Anyway.
That was funny.
So, but, that's how you balance it out. You think more of, stop thinking of You stop thinking about magic items they use up and more about magic items that are conditional.
Right. Right.
Or not even that. Again, it doesn't necessarily have to be conditional. Because, again, the level of play, like we talked about there, it could also roll all the way up into the we're going to start playing Eberron and we're going to start playing Forgotten Realms or Dark Sun, and guess what? You better be loaded for bear, and the bears are going to walk on two legs and throw fireballs out of their eyes at you.
That's
so
right.
you're going to need
and lightning out of their ass.
You're going to need the appropriate power levels to deal with that, and power level isn't always driven 100% by gear. You can find a 5th level party with appropriate gear can deal with one threat that a 10th level party can't, because they're still strutting around with their class abilities, and that's about it.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
That makes sense.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
That is absolutely right. But so that's pretty much how you handle, and also just constantly go over your threats to them.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's very easy to I like undead. I like throwing undead at them, but I can easily go overboard with that.
Hi there, I'm Undead Adam. Oh, not that. Got it.
Yeah, not that one.
But it's easy to go overboard with one type of critter. And I'm not talking about all bears or all orcs or something like that. I'm talking about the critters that everything is either it takes at least a +1 to hit them, or they got magic resistance up the wazoo.
Mm-hmm.
That kind of thing. If you throw enough dragons at them, they're going to stop playing.
Yeah, that's the thing. Unless, of course, they want to go out and hunt dragons. Yeah.
But I'm saying you got to mix it up too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, every once in a while you got to have that dire fiendish gaggle zoomer from the elemental plane of air.
Oh, but anyway,
I've just found the least helpful segment of our show.
Oh, come on now. We're doing just fine.
Okay.
The useless comes later. Oh, did I say that? Sorry.
Anyway, you guys got any ideas on it? THACOShammer@gmail.com, osrgaming.org, d20radio.net. Thank you. D20radio.com. Planet ADD, as we mentioned. Scrolling Citadel. Nutkin Land.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, the ever-popular Dragon's Foot.
Yes.
And a host.
And don't forget Facebook and Twitter.
Facebook and Twitter, and a host of others.
Yes, sir.
And anywhere we can weasel our little way into a board. Anyway.
Yep.
Let's go on to Magic Fingers.
Eeny, meeny, chili beanie, the spirits are about to speak.
Well, it just so happens that your friend here is only mostly dead.
Sounds like a lot of supernatural baloney to me.
Supernatural, perhaps. Baloney, perhaps not.
Magic Fingers.
Magic Fingers. I touch you, you turn into something. We're going to talk about Iron Stones. Oh, boy, those are fun. I mean, the fighter wants that Vorpal sword. The mage wants his Ion Stones.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Something to work up to.
Yep. I mean, Iron Stones can be used pretty much by any character class. It's not just mages. And I'm looking at, let's see, what is it? Page in the Encyclopedia Magica Volume 2, pages 613 to, I believe, 618. And actually make it 617.
That's a lot of pages for that book.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 618. I had it right. But yeah, there's tons of different kind of Ion Stones. I mean, I remember in the first edition the first edition DMG, I should say, where I actually saw them, and in the Munchkin game that I was playing in, all the characters had at least 2 of them at the very least. But I mean, they're nice little hard stones that you can set in orbit around your character's head, I believe. And, they do
various sundry things.
Yeah, they give various bonuses, and, they can give, stat boosts, immunities to spells, bonuses to saving throws, and things like that.
You know what's funny?
What's that?
Gage plays Wizard 101 MMO on the internet here. And his wizards have a certain protection card, because it's kind of like a magic, Yu-Gi-Oh thing. When they get into wizard duels, and one where it's a protection card that's got this thing rotating around them, and I said, "Oh, you got an Ion Stone." What? Yeah. Because I saw it absorbs spells and stuff. Yeah, it's an Ion Stone, so I tell them all about Ion Stones.
Yeah, he's like, Grandpa's ranting about the D&D stuff again. But anyway, I'm sorry.
Anyway, go ahead.
But yeah, I mean, they have a certain amount of, have an armor class of, what is it? I think it's 2. I'm looking for the stats. I just lost them. Oh, for goodness sake.
It varies.
Yeah.
It depends on what the
there they go. There it is. Yeah, Iron Stone has an effective armor class of -4 and has 10 hit points. So, if the chips are down and that archmage that you're fighting is about to cast a spell or use an ability from an Ion Stone, then you can actually try to destroy it. I mean, no self-respecting player would try to do that unless the chips were down.
And the AC at -4 represents the fact that they're real small and they're moving around his head.
Really fast, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, again, and that's that one particular one. That's actually Balion's yellow Ion Stone. The others don't necessarily have armor class or hit points because they are permanent magic items. So what you really want to look at is how can you deny them to your opponent. They can be stolen. They can be snatched. They can be plucked from the air. They can be over-willpowered and telekinetically stolen. You can come up there with a butterfly net and snatch them away and go running off.
I'm free!
Oh, God.
They float free, but they're not tied to the person by any great power or force. So when a person chucks an Ion Stone out there and puts that cluster around their head, they're putting it out there for the world to see. I have power! See me! Bow before me! And then somebody comes up with a freak. Then somebody else says, you know what? I like your power. I know how to play stickball. Ka-tink! Going for the bleachers.
That's why you put it in a bag, and when the chips are down, you let it fly. To me, Ion Stones are not something you walk down the street with it around your head.
No, it's a situational thing for sure because
number one, on the street. What if it's the Adventurers Parade? Okay, maybe then.
Yeah,
but it also depends on what the Ion Stone does. I mean, if I got a Ion Stone that gives me an obscene armor class, yeah, I'm going to have it up more often than not.
Yeah, but most of people would kind of avoid you because of the weird rocks that are spinning around your head. Like I said, it's all pretty much
it's around like your forehead, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay, not okay. Anything lower is like keeps getting.
They
in my
float
head.
around your vicinity. They trail and circle their owner. They can be grasped or netted so as to separate them from their owner. If they're more than 3 feet from their owner, they no longer function. To function, they must be free to trail and circle. It is recommended that in any campaign these be very rare and difficult to obtain.
Yeah.
So if you go through one of those trap doors where it goes at last door speed and shuts between you and your Ion Stone,
Ion Stone falls
to the ground and is no longer functional, and you are denied that ability.
Correct.
Hold on. What's your favorite Ion Stone?
I don't really track them. It's like the people who started Ion Stones are the same people who started Pokemon and other collectible card games, and I hate things with a rich passion.
Now, come on. Ion Stone's been in existence long before Pokemon.
This is the origin of it. I'm sure this is the origin of it. That's my conspiracy theory for the day.
Yeah, so the Japanese get to hold everything, and they got to,
No.
Well, they had this special deck of many things that are all Ion Stones that you just, like, take a card and throw it up, and it goes around your head. No. That would be interesting.
Have you ever play from a deck of many things and do 52 pickup? Just.
I was just gonna say, has anybody ever done that? All of a sudden, a nuclear explosion in the middle of the town. Oh, Lord.
There are tons of different ones. They do a wide variety of powers. And again, all these powers are why that people want to have them. Everything from things like the pink ellipsoid, which adds 1 to your constitution while in the user's possession. Okay, simple enough.
I know there's some that lower. I know there's some that.
Star. The user of this Ion Stone can only be harmed only by magical weapons and spells.
Yeah,
Taking
that's a good one.
Now, the fun one for at least a mage or even like a thief is the ones that, like, absorb the spell and throw it back.
The pink and green ellipsoid.
Yes.
Yeah. Absorbs spells up to 4th level. After absorbing 10 D4 spell levels, the stone burns out and turns a lusterless gray. Now, see, in 1st edition, they actually, when an Ion Stone got burned out, they would actually give a bonus to psionics.
What?
Yeah.
Yes. So they never stopped being useful if you had a character that had psionics, believe it or not.
Yes.
But yeah, I mean, but like Falon said, there are tons here. I think one of the most useful ones is the soft black rectangle, which protects versus life level draining attacks. Gives you a saving throw. Yeah, gives you a saving throw and a +1 bonus to it.
The Cerulean Blue Rhomboid. This Ion Stone bestows free action on the user like the ring.
Yep.
Isn't there one that lowers AC too?
I believe so. I'm looking through them.
There's a number of them, and also you also find this out. Just as there are good things out there, there are bad things out there. You can do the cursed items. Cursed version makes the character take full damage from all weapons until Remove Cursed is cast.
Yep. There's one.
Or let's see. Cursed Stone blinds the character until Remove Cursed is cast.
Yep. Yeah, the
first version of this one makes a character automatically fail all saving throws until a Remove Curse spell is cast.
What about the Ion Stone of the Ion Stone of Delusion?
No need here, that's for sure. Even though that would be screwed up. Oh God, Rings of Delusions really, really burn me. But anyway, enough said about that. I mean, but like I said, yeah, the cursed ones can really, really screw a character up. I mean, one of the better ones is that the incandescent blue sphere, which adds 1 level to spell ability until it's removed. So you've got imagine you got a 4th level character and he gets that.
Wow.
Yeah. Then now all of a sudden he's like, hey, wait a minute, that's how I can do fireballs. It's fireball time! Anyway.
No. That's 1 level to spell ability, not necessarily to spell level the character.
Now,
so the DM has to make that DM call. Yes. Am I going to allow you to now have the ability to cast 3rd level spells when you previously weren't, or am I simply going to make your 4th level cast spells come into effect as if they were at 5th level of ability? Magic Missile, I'm looking at you.
It can be done either way.
Wow.
Done either way. But yeah.
So dude, you got some big fireballs. Sorry. You had to do it.
Yeah.
Anyway.
No, you didn't, but you did it anyway.
Let's ask him about the Ion Stone stories at THACOshammer@gmail.com.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody gonna stop me? Okay.
No, I'm not.
Everybody just get stoned.
Oh, no.
On to 99% perspiration.
Why don't we just get some carnations and a beer stein and just put them right up here?
Geez, Tolkien couldn't follow this plot.
If somebody doesn't share your opinion.
99% perspiration.
And just can't get a party with a couple of them Ion Stones. Ion Stones.
Will you stop it? Oh, man. Oh, God.
Definitely fun to edit.
Yeah.
99% perspiration. Okay. Den of Thieves.
Yes.
A book not unlike Bastions of Faith, only it's for thieves.
Correct.
So you're looking at like a temple, only you steal stuff. Anyway, no.
It's a little bit different than that, but yeah.
What's the perp's distinguishing marks? What year and who wrote it and all that?
Well, let's see. This was made by one of those big mega stars of the D&D world, Wes Nicholson.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Very hardcore gamer there.
Yeah, and Steve Winter was the creative director. So.
And what year was this out?
This was 1996. 1996. Mm-hmm.
Got a number, a stock number?
9515.
Correct.
9515.
Okay, in case you want to play at home. And this is all about. This basically sets up a thieves guild or den, like the other ones set up a cleric's temple.
Correct.
Right.
And this, to give just a little bit of back history, in the Complete Thieves Handbook, they give you the tools to actually generate a thieves guild.
Yeah.
But it kind of fell a little bit short. It didn't go quite far enough, I guess, for for a lack of space. They wanted to keep the pages down, I guess. But this supplement takes that rule and takes most of the things in the Thieves Handbook and puts it into practice. Exactly. Thank you.
Instead of getting the sampler and the dollar value menu of Thieves Guildery, we're going to give you the 4-course meal for all subject matters.
Yes.
The $6 burger version of D&D. Okay. And they do an admirable job from what I see.
Yeah, it's a great. I mean, just to get a good, even if you don't use this in your game, just reading this to get ideas about a thieves guild. Just if you have that player who's running a thief who's like, I want to go and talk to the people in my guild. I need to kind of do a couple jobs for them while my companions are resting and doing other stuff. It basically goes from soup to nuts, from beginning to end, as to the functions of a thief guild and the actual practice of a thieves guild.
And when you read this, do it in the voiceover that you get from Goodfellas.
Joe Pesci. or Ray Liotta. Yeah.
Ever since I can remember, I wanted to join the Thieves Guild.
Yep, exactly. But yeah.
Although there will be a Pesci XP in there somewhere if I have anything to do with it.
What do you think?
Hey, think you could go steal to pick that guy's pocket? What? Am I a clown? What? Do I make you laugh? You don't think I could go through there? Huh?
Exactly. Funny how? Anyway, it goes into the different functions that a Thieves Guild makes, and I'm sorry, but even if the Thieves Guild has a good alignment, there are some times where they've got to go shake somebody down, and they got to, blackmail or extort somebody. I mean, if they're thieves, they may be decent people, but they're still thieves,
Hopefully they're shaking down and blackmailing the bad people.
Yes, exactly.
To try and force them to correct their socially maladjusted behavior.
Correct. I mean, maybe even go into dancing girls.
As far as like thieves guilds go, you have to walk a fine. If you're running a thieves guild, you got to walk a fine line.
How so?
Take care of business. With what Thieves Guild do, but at the same time, don't take care of business so much that people start to notice.
Yeah, exactly.
Start to notice.
Exactly. I mean, all you got to do is read a couple of Fafford and Gray Mouser books in order to see that. Even though they were both pretty good thieves in their own right, it's like they only went balls out when they absolutely had to. If they could get their job done by stealth, they went for it.
So a good modern day television reference to that is, have you ever watched that show Vegas?
No, I haven't.
I have. I've been watching Michael Chiklis's character, who runs the Savoy there, and he's starting to make plans on taking care. I mean, he's going semi-legit, and he spends a lot of his time trying to keep his fellow mobsters from blowing the whole thing.
Right. Yeah, because they get greedy.
He's a mobster, but he's also a businessman. He's trying to go into the casino across the street because he's trying to do it through a bank. So he could be major stockholder, and he don't have to cut them in for nothing.
Right. Yeah.
That way but not only that, he wants to expand like Vegas ends up being, but he feels that these guys are like cut the nose off despite their face a lot of the time. Okay, fine, you whack guys, but you can't constantly whack guys.
No, you can't. Not in this day and age.
Yeah, otherwise you're going to have Dennis Quaid and the law on your butt.
Right.
And the other thing to keep in mind,
and he's walking a fine line over it. So
right. But it's a really difficult road to travel. That's for sure.
What were we saying, Full-On?
And I'd say that the other model that you can approach, too, is if you want to run that good Thieves Guild, another example you can take from that is leverage. Sometimes bad guys make the best good guys, but they have to have that threshold of staying under the radar so they can still continue to operate, because having their face all over the place won't let them do the things they do, and they still need to be able to operate within the bounds of whatever that Thieves Guild sets up as their operational window without going beyond it, and still be serviceable enough to be functional while they're at it.
I mean, how many, I mean, Burn Notice can fall under that to a certain extent, too.
Yeah.
But how many gangster and mob films have you seen where they go, okay, the heat's on, we got to back off? Right.
Yeah, because
it's the same thing with a Thieves Guild.
Yeah, but exactly. I mean, in D&D, that's pretty much up to the DM's purview to see how that comes out. But it can go. You can only go out there and rob and mug and do protection rackets and whatever else you're going to do to a certain point before the City Watch decides you need to be shut down, because you are doing so much and you are hurting so many people through your actions that it's not any sort of benefit to the common person. So we're going to take you out.
Yeah, they usually want you to be able to have the crime in the city to be under control level at a reasonable yield, not so that people feel unsafe to walk the streets, not so that it's unable to do normal business, doesn't turn into a pirate shanty town. Correct. And you also have to watch out for that level of threat where, okay, what happens if you start getting the guild fully involved in the politics of the city, where you're starting to take out councilmen, put people in their place? That's where you deal with the politics and corruption as a role-playing side of things.
Right. The unspoken rule about, greasing the wheels on their end is the fact that there's an unspoken rule. Okay, we're going to bribe you to look the other way to a certain point, but we're not going to push it.
Right.
Well, we're not going to push it over a certain point.
Yeah, and that also depends on the quote-unquote alignment of the town. Also, if you have a lawful neutral town, or even so much a lawful evil town, you're going to have a lot of mafia types, just working within the system, but also exploiting the system. If you have a lawful good kind of place,
you want to hear something? You want to hear something funny?
What?
You know what would go good with this? I mean, this kind of thing, the Thieves Guild and Den of Thieves. It's not fantasy. Get yourself a copy of Gangbusters.
Yeah. Yeah.
Look at the charts and stuff in there about how much the gangs can do without getting into major people, running them out of town on a rail or something like that.
Exactly.
Because they got the muscle. Yeah, they got the firepower, but they cannot stop an armed populace who gets their dander up.
Exactly.
And the Thieves Guild you should look at those tables, and it's like, this is the way you got to think when you're running a Thieves Guild. And this book helps. We're getting off the book, so let's go back to the book.
Okay. When you're dealing with the Thieves Guild, you also want to watch out for dealing with that level of inter-Thieves Guild conflict, because it runs in a cycle. You start from a couple of thieves get together to start doing operations. They build into a small gang of persons, or toughs. They have their little infrastructure and network. They build up a little more. They start putting together a few more folks. You can start end up with something that might actually try to start calling itself a guild. And then you might have, on the far side of town, you got your north side and your south side. You might have your other set of guilds. Now they're going to start getting into competition with each other. One of those might cross the line, and now you suddenly have full-blown guild gang wars going on.
It happens. Yeah,
then what happens, because it's a fantasy setting, you can throw so much more into it. Because what if one of those thieves guilds is all about the technical, the tactical, and they are the ultimate cat burglars and the sneak thieves and the, ninja assassins, while this other thieves guild over here has got elbows deep in with some kind of thief god, and they got a priestly bent to it. You can end up with entirely different characters of Thieves Guild, even of the same alignment.
Yeah, easily.
You know, it could get out of hand real easy. Next thing you know, you're having a summit of the families. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what ends up happening when you've got a city or a town that has more than one thieves
guild. Too many
factions.
I mean, think about this. You have you not only have the thieves guild. Now, these may be subclasses of the thieves guild, but they may not be. You got the thieves guild. You got the assassins guild. You got the beggars guild.
Yeah.
You know, you got the pickpockets guild. You know, you can divide it however you want. Well, either they're all under one umbrella, or they could be like rival factions.
Well, see, that was... Okay, go ahead, Glenn. Keep going.
That may step on each other's toes or may not.
No, that's the next part in this supplement, actually. They break it down as to the different crimes or, you know, the teams or guilds in there, you know, that they have their different things. They have the burglars, they have the counterfeiters, you know, they have the extortion street robbery people. You know, a good thieves guild will have multiple ways of getting money without having to rely on any one particular way.
Grifters, knee breakers, pirates, highwaymen, cat burglars.
Yep.
They may even go far as to subcontract pirates.
Sure.
The seats.
Sure. Absolutely. If I could see a thieves guild in a major city, I'm thinking population saying at least 50,000. I mean, a huge city in D&D terms, I could actually see that, especially if the city's on a coast. You know, they sponsor, you know, I could see them more sponsoring pirates than them actually having ships of their own, because, you know, that would be different.
Or competing with pirates, because you got the Thieves Guild dealing with all the land trade and the city itself, and the pirates dealing with their pirateness, and they come back with all their pirate booty, and then the Thieves Guild tried to steal it.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. But, you know, the second part in this book breaks down the different crimes of, you know, opportunity or steady income. And then
you overlay the fantasy elements.
Well, yeah, that goes in.
You talked about a god of thievery earlier.
Mm-hmm.
Whole temples like this, evil mages who have their own organizations. Get this, there is a scenario in Call of Cthulhu in one of the books called Blood Brothers, where they have a big clan of vampires moving into the city going up against the mob.
Yeah.
Who's going to come out on that end?
The vampires. All they have to do is start turning people. That's all they have to do.
Well, that's okay, but you also look at other things, too. You got that religious aspect in the fantasy setting, so you've got gods of thieves. When you have Temple Row in your medium to large-sized town, where all the various faiths are shoved off into the corner to go practice their faith, what happens when somebody opens up the door and says, yes, this is the Temple to Mask. Yeah. Don't mind us. This is where
nothing to see here.
What do people? The public face of that is, oh yeah, sure, that's not the Thieves Guild headquarters in any way, shape, or form. That's just where people go to pray to Mask and say, please don't let me be robbed. Okay, or offer a sacrifice. I'm not going to get robbed today.
Yeah,
that's why people have storm gods, not because they like storms. Ooh, look at that thunder. They're going to say, please don't sink my fleet. Oh my goodness.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah. And there may be a faction of the Thieves Guild that has a small town under its protection. Mm-hmm. They do protect people, believe it or not.
Yep, it's true.
You know, I mean, and they will run out any unauthorized thieves and stuff.
Well, that's one of the. That's
why they quote unquote guild.
Yeah, exactly. And now the third part in this actually breaks down from the top all the way to the bottom an actual Thieves Guild. And, you know, they start with the guild master, who's like a 12th level thief, his daughter, who's only training now as a thief, who's first level, his wife. Then they go to the day master, and then they start going to the various the day staff, which actually are in charge of, you know, the collectings of monies and so forth. Then the taskmasters, which have the different crime divisions, if you will. This is, you know, basically a thieves guild that's run by a lawful neutral thief. It is very detailed, and it breaks everything down to the smallest part.
think about this. And once again, I'm going to use a modern analogy. The Mafia was originally created as a protection thing for people who either didn't want to go to the police or the police weren't doing their job.
Kind of a militia.
Yeah.
So that's how it started. So you don't think your Thieves Guild is going to get involved in that? I mean, hell, you could have like the fantasy equivalent of the Sons of Anarchy running this town and keeping all the bad things out of there.
Yeah. Sons of Anarchy is a Thieves Guild, no doubt.
Yeah.
From beginning to end.
Right. Say you have an Assassin's Guild in a small town that has a subgroup of a clan of werewolves. You don't think they're going to be real good about keeping all that out of town? All that stuff out of town? That's why I said you get the fantastic element in there. You could undead armies. The mind boggles.
Yeah, I mean, you could add that to it, but the thing is that in the case of a Thieves Guild, just don't overdo it. Because this is more for a background thing or a place for a thief character to kind of, get
inspired to.
Yeah, exactly.
And my favorite is a Thieves Guild that's run very intelligently by, say, a dragon.
Oh, let's see. Yeah,
a Rakshasa.
Beholder.
A beholder. You don't tell
comes up out of the bottom, and he sounds a lot like, hey, you're going to talk like this about our situation now. You're going to deal with us the way we want to deal with you. I'm going to look at you with my good eye here.
I can see like a beholder running like a black market.
The funny part is, I just thought of it. I'm going into the video gaming aspect for a second, but for the Baldur's Gate Dark Alliance series, the first one. The first one, the first mission you go undertake is to take out a Thieves Guild, and you find out at the end that the Thieves Guild is run by a beholder. And you have to fight that beholder at the end. And it's a really tough fight, let me tell you. But, you could have monstrous or even fantastical creatures as the big brains behind it all, or at least for a front. Things like that.
Right. The werewolf thing gets me. I keep seeing them as bikers, as that kind of thing. Not bikers, it's,
See, you stereotype folks. That's the same thing what Vampire the Masquerade did when, the Bruja, they're all the biker ganger vampire dudes. Yeah, whatever. Everybody doesn't have to be pretty and everybody doesn't have to glitter. But that's the other thing about that Thieves Guild. They don't all have to be dirty, smelly, gutter trash. It could be a very, very professional organization. It could be a very upper crust organization. It could be something driven academically. A spy, you could take a Thieves Guild school and convert it into a spy master school for a very big political intrigue adventure setting.
That's right. Thieves Guilds are so versatile.
Yeah, big time.
It's not even funny.
And this supplement, it just is a wonderful way, a perfect example of how a Thieves Guild runs. I mean, you have varying personalities amongst it. They're not all of a piece. Even though the Guildmaster is lawful neutral, I've been reading this while we've been talking. The person who's in charge of the blackmail division is chaotic evil. She loves making people suffer. She loves getting as much money out of people as she can.
And he's not going to argue about it because it all goes into their coffers.
Correct. As long as she doesn't step too far out of line, it's fine.
Right.
You got, the person who's lockpicking. She's a portly woman in her 40s. She looks like somebody's mother. But she can pick locks like nobody's business.
How about this, when they take the law into their own hands? You ever seen the movie M? It's about a child murderer that the mob catches for the police and puts him on trial. Think about that. When they're organized, stuff goes down. They're better than the police. They're better than the constables. They're better than the watch.
Yeah,
because they got their hand, they got their ear in everything.
Yes, exactly. And there could be something that is so difficult for them to deal with, and it's impacting their bottom line so badly. Right. They will go outside of their own purview in order to see this problem solved.
I seem to.
If they don't necessarily have the reinforcements to deal with, say, an undead threat of the vampiric nature trying to come into the city. And, of course, they're going to circle in some of the same circles as the Thieves Guild will. And they're going to run across each other in the same hours. Suddenly they say, you know what? We don't want our people turned into evil bloodsuckers. We'd rather suck some wallets dry instead.
Mm-hmm.
How about this? There's a serial killer going around the city who happens to be a devil swine.
Sure.
A rare swine in 2nd edition. And they decide to catch it because it's bad for business.
Yeah, because his exploits are so crass and so excessive. It's bad for business.
It's got the heat. The constable's down on them, so let's get this.
That's what thing. You get that Thieves Guild where Thieves Guild has those were-rats in the Thieves Guild, but the werewolf comes into town, starts doing some murders. Mm-hmm. So now they've got to get people together to go take out that one lycanthrope threat without exposing their other lycanthrope nature.
Mm-hmm. So what's the best way of hunting and getting a lycanthrope? Using another one against them.
Yeah, that's one way to do it, sure.
If they had an Assassin's Guild which had a clan of werewolves, they go, get that damn pig out of here. Go get him, do whatever you have to do, take him out of town, lynch him, eat him, we don't care.
Yeah,
I will say this. If you have a Thieves Guild who got their Assassin's Guild made up of werewolves, those are definitely one of your more hardcore break glass case of war Thieves Guild groups that say, you know what? Hey, go bring out the GIMP.
Mm-hmm. It's time to get the GIMP. That guy. Oh, God, that guy. That was funny. That's, by the way, that's a, oh, God. Boondock Saints reference.
No.
No, sure?
Pulp Fiction.
Oh, I'm sorry. I get those. Yeah, you're right.
Boondock Saints has an entirely different reference to go with.
Yeah, that's true.
Kill these guys? I know these guys. I can tell you who to kill.
Yeah, that's right. I forgot. My bad.
Anyway, you guys can talk about it. THACOSHammer@gmail.com, and this retailed for what?
This retailed for
$15.95. Good value for the dollar at that time.
And you can find it for a reasonable price, although I've yet to see it turn up at half-price books.
You know what? Let me take a look while we're talking.
I don't know what the current Amazon price for it is, or the eBay price, or anything like that.
If you give me a moment, I can find out. Let's see.
I remember Bastion Faith that the price was something like $7.99.
Which is literally half of what it cost back in the day.
Yeah, so you probably get it for around there. It depends. I don't think was this all that rare in the day?
I didn't see it all that much, to be honest. I mean, I saw it every once in a while. I was lucky enough in 1996. I was living in Orlando, and it had a huge RPG store called at the time it was called Enterprise 1701. They changed their name to Sci-Fi City, and they basically bought a supermarket space, and they've been there ever since.
Wow.
It's a really famous store in the South, in Florida, and that kind of place. I would see that every once in a while. I would see the most common one I ever saw out of all of these was College of Wizardry, by far.
Okay.
I mean, I would see Bastion of Faith every once in a while. This one was kind of rare.
Yeah. So it may be premium price out there.
Yeah. It might be. If you give me a moment, I'm doing the search on Noble Knight right now.
$62.46 new on Amazon. $6.98 used on Amazon. So you got a full spectrum there.
A complete. That's what you call it. Damn it.
Yeah.
That's what you call a shakedown. All right, go ahead. Pay me $62 for my Den of Thieves book.
Well, you know something?
Some people would, and it's worth it. It is worth it. It's a good
product. At Noble Knight, for a very good to near mint condition, $25. That's not so bad. But yeah, that's a better site than $64.
a good reasonable price for something that, again, in this era of splat book production for second edition D&D, you got a lot of bang for the buck without a lot of wasted fluff. So being able to get this in the $15 to $20 range from a conditioned book, jump on it. If something's kind of used with notes scribbled in it, hey, take advantage of somebody else's DM work for you.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
You know, and pay $10 for it, easy.
This series, there was 4 books, right?
You know,
a fighter's one too.
I think they were supposed to make one, but I don't think they did.
Like the Fighter's School or something like that?
Yeah, I think they were supposed to. I think they stopped it for some reason. It might have been because by this time in '96, they had already moved to Washington from Lake Geneva, Wisconsin. So
the sale had been finished. Okay.
Yeah, it hadn't been finished at that point, but they moved out to Washington in anticipation of the sale.
Okay, so anybody who knows about that, drop us a line at THACOShammer@gmail.com or the number. Give them the number again.
405-806-0555.
Just so we get it right.
Well, they got the College of Wizardry, they got the Den of Thieves, they got the Bastion of Faith, and then they really kind of never really settled in with the Fighters because Fighters already got everything anyway.
Well, I would have liked them to do a Fighters one. It would have been nice.
Like a Fighter's School or something.
Right.
Anyway, let's get on to Getting Out of Dodge.
This is it. This is what? If I take one more step, it'll be the farthest away from home I've ever been.
Getting Out of Dodge.
Getting Out of Dodge. Okay, this is where we're going to wrap it up, folks. Dragon Mountain Book 3.
Correct.
More kobolds. Brian?
Yeah. I mean, as we left off in the last one, if you made it down this far, you're still dealing with kobolds with special equipment and magic items. You
bed down for the night, you're going to see them in your dreams.
And more importantly, tactics and training.
Oh, boy. Yeah, exactly. And a lot of it. A lot of each. You're still making your way down to the actual Dragon's Lair. Of course, one of the enemies you're going to run into is Hittel the Assassin, who's not multi-class, a dual-class, 9th level thief, 13th level psionicist.
Oh.
Yeah, and he uses psychometabolics, which is really, really nasty. It can be used really nasty.
I still don't want to use psionics in my game, so the 9th level thief is bad enough.
True, but it's unless you just give him a lot of poisons and stuff like that. But the psionics really is what makes him powerful.
But psionics is, let's forget about how I don't like psionics.
Yeah, because you've made that very well known.
Even if I did like psionics, that kind of thing gripes my butt about, you have to use this part of the game that you don't want to use.
Well, you don't have to if you don't want to, Glenn.
I know that is the case, but, don't gimp the game because of that.
Well, okay.
It isn't about gimping the game. This is one of those assets that, especially if you happen to have a party that is leading with their chin or not particularly tactically well sound or founded, they could have that extra voice from the DM's hip pocket saying, hey, I could do this. This is the guy who knows every twist and turn of Dragon Mountain, including the vents and heat ducts. So if you have issues with the map, being friends with this guy could solve your issues with the map.
Yeah, I would never use a vent or heat duct around there. I'm afraid I'd have David Hedison coming the other way. Anyway, this guy knows all the ins and outs of Dragon Mountain.
Yeah, it's his hope that he wants to kill the dragon, and he will work so long with the PC so long as their goal is to kill Inferana, who is at the very end of this module or this adventure. And he knows how to get you in and out of places, like you said, the vents and heat ducts, and get you just to wherever you need to be without running into a lot of what stands between you and the dragon. And it is really... he's a really good ally for as long as the goal is mutual, because once the goal is over, he's probably going to turn on you. Most likely going to turn on you.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Well, it doesn't say that he's going to turn on you if you do the task.
Yeah.
If you don't do the task, then he's going to turn on you as betraying him.
Yeah.
He's got a little bit of a code.
Yeah, a little bit.
I figured that we'd get the task done and then he'd just abandon us.
Well,
yeah, that's pretty much. He's going to abandon you. He's going to leave you. He's got his thing done. He's done with you. Goodbye.
Mm-hmm.
You can get yourself out. I'm out.
Most players, it's like, okay, fine.
Well, see, the problem is that all this guy really likes to do is kill things, which is kind of funny, actually.
Plenty of things to kill in that mountain.
Yeah, he certainly does.
Dog.
But the whole thing is that this is a strong ally just because of his knowledge, and once you're able to go through places, you've got more clans of goblins like Gnarled Fang, and let's see what else. Then once you get through those, there used to be a place where there's another clan of kobolds, but this is where the stone snakes are. and quite a few of them, actually, and it's difficult to get through, but then on top of that, there's a layer of rottens in there.
Blind monkey creatures. Every adventure's good with blind monkey creatures.
Too bad it's inside. Tabby would be next.
Mm-hmm. Yep, you think. But then there's clan skull kickers, which is kind of funny. As Full-On said to me as we were doing the show notes, in the very last page of Book 3 is something that should be in Book 1, which is the clan relationships.
Really?
There are 12 clans of kobolds. Well, 13 if you count the not podcast, my God. The outcasts. Wow. Holy crap.
They're the communicators of the Kobold Nation.
Might as well be. And it's a flow chart that shows who's allied with who's rivaled with whom, and this is something that, if at all possible, the party should be trying to do instead of just wading through kobolds.
As in Night Below, your diplomacy skills will be of much use at this point.
I agree. And another thing for the party to worry about is that the dragon isn't just sitting in her lair, just admiring herself and admiring her treasure. She actually polymorphs into Furan.
A number of things.
Yeah, but one of her favorites is Furan the Deft. And she'll go walking in this guise, looking for any intruders and to gain information about said intruders, and for use later.
Which is why nobody trusts any NPCs found in the dungeon ever.
Yeah, you shouldn't. Well, you shouldn't, but sometimes
you should, but you shouldn't, and this is why people get burned out into everyone dies.
Yeah, exactly. So, as we're going on, more in another area has Clan Wishbones, which is I think the second most powerful clan in Dragon Mountain, and it is, next to Clan Wormguard, which only makes sense because Clan Wormguard is the clan in charge of actually guarding the dragon.
It's got to be the elite team, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Hello, we are Kobold Spetsnaz.
That's exactly what they are. Spetsnaz. Yeah. Those are some scary dudes. Anyway, as you're going along, of course, you're going to run into prisons, prison cells have actual prisoners in them, or slaves, or whatever.
Or whatever.
Yeah, or whatever. Most of them are kobolds, which you should never trust for any period of time. But there are a couple of NPCs in there who are severely starved and mistreated but they're potential allies, or even just meat shields, as Full-On suggested.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Oh, look at that. And then, as you move to another area where the dwarves used to live, you start running into Clan Tauren Claws and also another Boule. More land sharks.
There must be some way to make that Boule work for you.
No, they're animalistic. The only way to work with a Boule is to work to kill it. Otherwise, it's going to
amulet of animal control.
Yeah, you could do that.
Take him to PetSmart for pet, discipline, pet training.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, now there's a
sit up, boy.
It's something like that. There's actually a hall, because in this area where the Boule is, it's like there are two clans, Clan Tauren Claws and what's the other one? Clan Wishbones. And while they don't hate each other, they don't trust each other, there's this one area which is just a huge trap. It's called the Neutral Hall, and anyone walking in there, there's a pressure plate that slams the doors shut, and then there's gas coming in to save or die. Poison gas. Yeah. And even if you save, you pass out.
And that's probably not even something that the kobolds put in. That sounds like dwarf make to me.
That sounds like a dwarf trap to me. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, it just goes on. I mean, then you start getting to Clan Wormguard, which is in the green area of the mountain. And, the thing is that, if you have what you need if you can somehow work, pit kobold clans against each other, this would make a much easier level. But, there's just a lot here. Ooh, and then there's Fragalax, the chieftain of Clan Wormguard.
Oh boy.
And I'm just quite honestly surprised that they just didn't give all these chieftains fighter levels.
Yeah.
Because, even though the chieftains are like, 2 hit die creatures or 3 or whatever it is, it's like they're so loaded down with magical items and also have tactical advantages that it's just ridiculous.
I have this image of having a known player character actually try and learn to ride a Boule. That would be fun. That would be like those unexpected attacks that comes out of left field for the goblins.
Wow.
And all of a sudden, out of the earth comes this gnome riding a Boule. Yeah, boy, yeah, get him over there.
God, I can only imagine.
Good reason to have a gnome ranger. Gnome ranger who specializes in underground and underdark monsters.
With the Kobold Slayer kit.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's another good reason to run a herd through Dragon Mountain too.
Well,
Stampede.
Yeah. Let's see. You're running into another area that is infested more or less with brain spiders. You don't fight them all, but you do run into them every so often. I'm sorry, a group of 15 brain spiders is just a TPK waiting to happen. But
that's again why it's very, very important for all the bad press that Dragon Mountain gets as an adventure. It is important to read the whole thing and to catch some of the nuances that people might not catch, such as, yes, this level, this area of the adventure is a area where essentially they don't explicitly state it, but what they really mean to say is there is a wandering monster table for this piece of the dungeon. You have a fixed number of wandering monsters they could be, and this is them. Don't put them all against the party in one room at one time unless they really, 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 really deserve it.
Yeah, unless you're truly out to kill the PCs. Now, after going through all that, now you enter in the section where the dragon actually is.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, and not only do you have to deal with whatever is left of Clan Wormguard, which, they defend the dragon to the death, But before you even start getting there, you start running into nasty dwarven traps. I mean, very nasty dwarven traps.
Are these old traps that the dwarves left, or?
Yes, that's exactly what they are.
That's what I thought.
I think it's a combination of both, actually.
I kind of see the dwarves working for that dragon.
Yeah, no, the dwarves have been killed long ago. But you're running into
reverse gravity traps with 50-foot vertical pits with spikes at the top.
Yeah. I mean, it's just as if slogging through all the kobolds with special forces tactics wasn't bad enough. Then you got to go through that. Now, see, that part I don't have a problem with, because this was a dwarven / elven stronghold, and dwarves are known for making nasty traps to protect their treasure.
I like the one on 47. I would write a trap like that.
Oh, the spring-loaded ceiling?
No.
No?
Well, it's there, too. That's not what the bad part is.
The funnel? Yeah, the funnel where you run into an enlarged area spell. Oh, my God.
Reduce spell to make you shrink. You fall into a 1-foot wide tube, and then you pass through an area enlarged spell.
Oh, boy.
It's a baster for adventurers. Squirt.
That's Grimtooth area right there.
Yes, this is Grimtooth area.
Yeah, this is Grimtooth level of traps, for sure. For sure. So yes, and if you get through all of that, then you start running there. Then you start running into the quote unquote dragon head, which is a actual. It's sort of it's more or less the kobolds are now trying to fake you out. This is they try to actually deceive you to let you know to make you believe that this is the actual dragon. You're in an area that's rather foggy, so you can't see very well, and then you see the dragon head, up ahead of you, and then it breathes on you and starts talking through a magic mouth. I mean, it's pretty ingenious, I mean, but if the PCs actually persevere and actually don't decide to run away, because at this point they're just trying to get you to leave. They know that you've basically gone through a whole bunch of their clans, or you've started a bit of a clan war between the kobolds. So at this point they just want you to leave. So if they don't kill you if you don't die from the traps, from the monsters, from the kobolds with all the magic items and tactics and all that, then once you get past this point, that's when you actually start running into, and then they have another one, actually. Let's see. The king of Clan Wormguard volunteered to be polymorphed into a dragon and given a potion of invulnerability.
Spoiler alert, by the way.
Yes. Oh, whatever. It's been in existence for 15, 16 years. I'm not worried about that. But yeah.
They're using all of the tropes of the big bad evil guy to let you know that you thought you fought Fragorax, sir. You found a dragon and you fought it and you killed it. No, wait, that wasn't her. That was Fragorax. Hey, you thought you found the actual big bad evil guy, fought it and killed it. No, that was a polymorph kobold. Then you think, find the actual evil monster to fight it and kill it. No, that's the illusion. She's actually the kobold over in the corner laughing at you.
Yeah, pretty much. And the whole thing is that if you get through all of that, then there's a Norin, which is a monster I've never seen before, but they have a picture of it on page 53. It looks basically like a treant that doesn't move very much, and it shoots rocks at you. Yeah, it has little holes in its trunk, or it can throw rocks at you using branches. It's actually a pretty nice little drawing.
Yeah.
But then if you get
then Tom Bombadil comes over and soothes it down.
Yeah, exactly, something like that. Then you actually get to the dragon's lair. After all that, and
Dirk finally gets to the dragons.
I was just thinking of
to the yellow light. Blink.
Yeah. So you've got It breaks down all the treasure, which is actually a pretty decent treasure, even though I think it should be more, just because. But that's just me. The coins, the gems, the art objects, the potions, scrolls, other magic items, and things like that. And then it's like I said before, the dragon hasn't been sitting around doing nothing. At this point, if the dragon knows the PCs are coming, she's going to start moving her treasure out of there. And there are certain things that she has taken from the trove, and then there are other things that she's going to use against the party.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, I'm looking at the spell scroll that she's going to use. Vampiric Touch, Cloud Kill, Disintegrate, Delayed Blast, Fireball. You know?
See, things with charges. They specify these are the charges before she uses them.
Mm-hmm,
if she uses them up, she's going to use them up on the party.
Yep, agreed.
And since it is well known already by the spoilers that this is a dragon who likes polymorph, you may encounter her wearing lots of these things. Scale mail, magical swords, magical cloaks, magical other gear, and is perfectly happy to give you the beatdown with it.
Yeah, and that's the thing. If somehow, some way, once they find out that the kobold is the dragon, then she changes form to that human I was talking about, Fran the Deaf.
Right.
And then the speech takes place. You are more clever than I thought, if a bit foolish. I find it surprising you would choose a face of dragon in her own lair, especially knowing that she would take measures to ensure she can follow your progress. She basically says, join me or die.
You're not looking for a truck, you're looking for a dragon.
Yeah, exactly.
And you're not put on this world to get it. Now drop your weapons, your money, your magic. Everything that's not actual clothing.
And you with the green eyes, you pants.
As the battle's going on against the kobolds, in her guise as a kobold, she'll start using potions of human control.
Oh boy!
I mean, it's like I said, the DM has decided to put everything in the negative against the party without giving very, very many positives.
Let's see how close to a TPK I can come without actually doing it.
Yeah, there's a lot. There is a whole lot. So yes. And then, of course, if somehow, some way, you kill a 21-hit dice dragon after all of that, then you have to worry about getting out with all of your money.
Yeah, okay. Understood. I don't like it.
Let's put it this way. It's like I said, I understand what the author is going for, and my whole problem is that he went like 4 or 5 bridges too far in order to accomplish it. It's one of those adventures where it's like the PCs have so much against them, even if they are higher level characters like 10th level, that they're going to, the chances are they're going to die long before they see the dragon.
Look, this is the kind of adventure that people like to attend if they like adventures like Ravenloft, but they don't like level draining. They're still going to have if they like people who like the Temple of Elemental Evil, people who like the Tomb of Horrors, like this kind of adventure. There's a lot of us who do.
Mm-hmm.
And we have different flavors of what we like. Some of us like traps. Some of us like undead. Some of us like dragons. Mm-hmm. Some of us like dungeons. Some of us like Dungeons and Dragons. Oh, wait, that's the whole point of this.
Now, and I'm going to have to come down and say I don't. If I had to choose between the two, I'd pick Night Below every time.
Well, yeah, because Night Below's, I'm sorry, it's a much better done version of this.
But if you want to,
both of which are the D&D movie, but which one is the epic D&D movie, and which one is just the one-off?
I'd say Dragon Mountain be the one-off.
If you want an epic meat grinder, you can't go very wrong with Dragon Mountain. That's what I'm saying.
Well, yeah, that's exactly what this is. This is the ultimate meat grinder. You know, as far as second edition adventures go.
Now, I think their problem was, I don't know how well did this sell, do you think?
Not very, I
didn't think so. Because I had a feeling they were trying to get lightning to strike twice with, okay, how can we follow up Night Below?
Well, Night Below...
That's the way I saw it.
Yeah, I can see that. I just think Night Below was done better. Number one, it was done by a different person, number one. Number two, it was much better done. There were much better places for the players to gain allies, to gain places of respite. In Dragon Mountain, there aren't any.
Actually, gentlemen, I believe you need to reconsider your words.
Why you say that?
What else is new?
Think of it the other way around. They did Dragon Mountain in 1993.
That's true.
And everybody got pissed off at it for all the various reasons you guys are pissed at it. But a lot of people enjoyed it, and they said, you know what? Let's let lightning strike and we'll do it right. And then in 1996 or 1995, they did Night Below, where they did it right, and they stretched it out to make it more epic.
Yeah,
I had a feeling I was going to get the dates wrong, but that's okay.
That's okay.
It worked. I was right, only in reverse.
Yeah. Night Below is a much better version of this. Not only that, as Full On and I were talking about while you were having computer issues, is that the poster-sized maps of Dragon Mountain, there are very. How did you put it, Full On?
They're pretty.
Yeah,
they are pretty. They're not all that functional, but they're pretty.
They're not functional at all. I agree.
They expect you to either use a ruler or throw a transparent overlay over these things because they just say 1 inch is 5 feet, go.
Yeah.
And they have no grid. Now, there are people who are not married to maps, and that's fine. People who don't like miniatures, and that's fine. And they want to do it all narrative style or draw it on a whiteboard or whatever. But if you're going to take the time to give me absolutely stunning, beautiful poster maps, tactical maps to lay out on the table and use for the battle, then make them functional.
Agreed.
Like they did in Night Below, where they had grids on them.
Yeah.
Right. Which is something they learned, yes.
Yeah, exactly.
The only maps in Night Below that didn't have grids were the ones where you were going from point A to point B, and even then they had a scale that was
that's
easy
what
to deal with.
Too. They had these on too, or it was something that was representative of a actual art prop that is not supposed to have a battle map grid on it because it's not where you're going to put your miniatures. Just like the map of the Heronshire region or the stone tablet you get from the gnomes.
Okay, let's get down to this is when all is said and done about Dragon Mountain. How would we rate it? Stars. Stars.
Okay.
I'll start with you. Brian, you're talking. You go.
Okay. I'll be fair. I'm not going to give it 0. I'll give it 1.5. I see what they were the author was doing with it. The problem is he went way too far. If I had my druthers and the wherewithal, if I was going to run this adventure, I'd redesign it from the bottom up, from where the dragon is all the way to the top. I'd put different monsters in it, and I would, make it a much more, I hate to use the word, palatable adventure.
All right.
But that's
yeah, it gets to the point where what part do you think you're wimping out? Yeah. Anyway, how about you, Full On? I pretty much know, but go ahead, Full On.
You don't know me. I give it about a 3.5 to 4 stars. And I would say it with this. I am a person who has been accused in the past of being a little bit too tactical and a little bit too much of potentially even a killer GM.
No. Really?
I use an adventure like this as part of my 12-step program to see, This is what an example of going too far is, and I must dial myself back using the adventure as written and controlling what I do with it and resisting the urge to giggle gleefully from behind the screen and rub my hands together. And no, I'm not going to do any of that. I'm actually going to just deal with people reasonably. And again, it's a good training tool for all good DMs to deal with something like this where, yes, the adventure as written is dangerous. The adventure as written is hard. The adventure as written has complex interactions that you need to be aware of so that you can make sure that the players can seek the advantages they need, whether it's causing the interclan strifes, whether it's dealing with the fact that there are adventurers and NPCs in here that you can trust, or others that you cannot trust, and others that you should not trust, and others that you have to sell as much trust as possible so you can turn around and stab the characters in the back with them later. Yeah, they all have a piece of this, and it's all part of classic adventure running. And these are good classic adventure elements for it. And it's all about learning how to use old, staid, tired monsters in new and different ways.
Right.
I suppose.
Okay, my vote, here's get low to this.
Come on.
4 stars for what it is. Mm-hmm. Which is, I still consider it a meat grinder, but they really tried. They really tried to, I give them props for really trying to come up with something original and whole to do it with. My own use, I give it 1. Because as far as I'm concerned, there's something I can get out of this. I don't like running in these things. I don't like running these things. But as I said, for everything that's out there, there's something you can use, and there are things that you can use. Even if you're, like I said, like Liz, a kobold nut, plenty ideas for kobolds in there. Plenty ideas for traps in there. How to run a smart dragon, a really smart dragon.
Oh, yeah.
Things like that. Okay.
You could use the entirety of Dragon Mountain, just don't use it all at once.
Right. And you could break it up, too.
Yeah, you could.
I mean, just like Night Below, you could break it up into other things. What I miss as far as like that is comparing it again to Night Below is the modular nature of it, where you can go spend umpteen sessions outside of Night Below, building up your levels or whatever, and then go down there. And even when you're down there, you could take that little chunks at a time and just isolate and just use that part.
Right.
Dragon Mountain to me seems all of a piece.
You
know what I mean? Once you're in there, you're driving.
Yeah.
Until you get to that.
It's got that time crunch on there. It's the teleporting mountain. It's the thing that's going to modularly move. It's just like Krull in that respect. We've got window. We've got to get in. We've got to go. We got to get done. We got to get to the BBG. We got to take them out, or we're going to redo this all over again.
I mean, I don't. It's one thing of time management, but that to me that's a little bit too much pressure. As a player, as a DM.
Right.
You can always cut parts out, I guess, but
Well, yeah. Well,
so
see. Go ahead.
So it'd be like 1 for me.
Okay. Fair enough.
It's not a total loss. It really isn't.
Yeah. No, nothing is a total loss. I will go so far as to say that. Like I said, and I say it as more of a joke, but the author just took the Tucker's Kobold scenario and just went just bat-ass crazy with it. And that's kind of what I object. I don't have a problem with using low-level monsters in different ways, but when you're going so far out of your way as to make these quote-unquote super kobolds and things like that, that's where I start squawking. And yeah, this was not an easy read for me.
And besides, if I'm going to go for super kobolds, I have other ways to do that. If someone's going to do a D20 conversion of this, 3rd edition rules, this mountain is going to be one of those teen levels and up adventures minimum for a full party and beyond, because that's going to be not just, it's a bunch of half-hit dice kobolds. That's the one where, your elite bodyguard kobolds for the dragon probably are, 5th, 6th, 7th level fighters.
Exactly. I agree. That's the other thing that kind of irritated me, but this is before, I think this is before the complete book of humanoids came out, where it was made quote-unquote okay to put fighter levels on chieftains, humanoid
or wizard
chieftains.
levels, or shaman levels, or cleric levels, or
Optional,
a little bit more than just
optional, period.
Yes. It started in second. It's valid for us. Yay.
You're going to start running. You're going to start running into some of those very soon. Just be warned.
Did I do that out loud?
Yes, I did.
All right. You can tell us about your experiences with Dragon Mountain, if you think we're full of it, and whatever at THACOshammer@gmail.com and all the other places.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, this was a long haul, but it's time to close the Splat Book.
Yep. Took
Dragon
us a while, but we got it done.
Finally behind us.
Yeah, it's teleported off to another plane. Bye. See ya. Don't want to be ya.
So say goodbye, full on.
Have a good one, Gamer Nation.
Brian.
Until next time, folks, take care. Make sure to roll your criticals properly. Avoid fumbles as I look over to Full-On's icon over there. And we'll catch you next time.
Yeah, keep your kobolds dry. Anyway,
keep your kobolds dead. Anyway.
Yeah, keep your kobolds dead. I'm Glen, GM Glen, saying see you next time when the hammer comes down. And there goes hammer. Bye. Oh boy, that was exhausting.
THACO's Hammer theme is provided by the Diablo Swing Orchestra. You'll find them on Jamendo.com. All other additional music for this episode was provided by Kevin MacLeod. You'll find more of his music on Incompetech.com. Be sure to visit our website at THACOshammer.info. If you have any questions or comments, email us at THACOshammer@gmail.com. Remember, that's an O, not a 0. You can also find us on the second edition forums at osrgaming.org and at purpleworm.org. Or give us a call and leave us a voicemail at 405-806-0555. See you next time when the hammer comes down on THACO's Hammer.